so the SPA side controller is not working. So I see that says SPA side remote. I guess we open up this thing here and take a look. So let's first of all turn off all the power. There you go. Don't want to get electrocuted. Okay, now let's open up this guy and take a look. Screw these guys. Put the fan down. So here we go. Look, this looks like the SPA side controller here. You can take a look at what colors the wires are. 4B is blue. We've got G for green, Y for yellow, R for red, orange, black. That seems like it there. Now let's go ahead and pop this guy off. There you go. You get a little screwdriver and take that guy out. Okay, just use this little screwdriver here. I've screwed these guys here. Now I should be able to just take this all off. There we go. This thing here. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to try out the new one, make sure it works. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to hook these in to this and attach it to the control panel. Of course, we want to make sure we get the colors in the order correctly, right, based on what we just saw. So what we're going to do is we're going to test this new controller out before we run it through the ground, just to make sure that it works. We don't want to go ahead and run it and then find out there's a problem with this controller. So we're going to check the colors here now that we've wired it all up to the little thingamadoogie clip. All right, we got blue and black on the other side. Okay, black, orange, red, yellow, green, blue. Black, orange, and yellow, green, blue. Okay, so we've got the old one there unhooked. Now we're going to go ahead and turn this on. Okay, now we're going to try these buttons out. Try these buttons out, make sure they work. So we're going to try this first one. Right, that puts on the SPA. Let's try the next one. It's the bubbler. That should be the waterfall. Waterfall just went on. And this last one is the lights. Now we're just going to go over there and check and see if the lights are on. Yep, I can see the pool light is on. Looks like all the buttons work. So we're gonna, now next job is to take this old one off and run the wires through the ground. Should be fun. One here comes out here. We see it goes down here. So we're gonna just, it's got a couple of zip ties tying it until it goes through this tube here where it runs down across the ground. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these zip ties that are holding it tight here, so that we can get some slack to work with. Can I get a little scissors in there? I'm actually going to turn the phone off. It's easier with both hands. Guys, as you can see now, we've got this wire here that was connected to the controller behind there. Is now pretty loose right here. We're gonna give it a little push, make sure it's got a little slack here. Now the next thing we're gonna do is, because on the other side we are gonna pull it out a little bit, but we want to make sure we don't ever let it pull down as much as pulling this wire through this side, or else we're gonna lose it, right? So we're gonna tie something to the end of it here to block it, right? Doesn't need to be anything fancy. I'm just going to use this screwdriver. Got this wire tied to the screwdriver. Wire comes here and goes through there. Now for the fun part. Now we have to get the old SPA controller off. Now, don't know what they used to stick it. So we're just going to pull it off. Pull some of the wires out of it. Get a little slackness. Now, all this water in here might be part of the problem. So it looks like we got all the water out. We used just a regular standard wet dry vac to suck it all out and dry it all up, right? And we think getting the water out, that's probably one of the water might have contributed to this thing getting bad, damaging it. We don't know exactly. When we get all the wires out, we'll find out for sure. But certainly the water was not helping, and it was a good idea while we had this thing open to dry it out and get all the water out. Now, the question is, how did the water get in there? Now, the most likely scenario is it got in from the jacuzzi when the bubbler is on, the water's overflowing right over here, wetting this up. Now, this unit is supposed to be waterproof, but it looks like they didn't put a proper caulking around this. They use this kind of epoxy here, which is not waterproof. It's not gonna keep it dry, and as you can see, it's only done halfway around. So we're gonna fix that when we replace the new unit. We're gonna put a proper, maybe a silicone sealant that'll help be easy to take off if we need to take it off. And also it'll prevent water from getting down inside of here, which is what we want to do. Okay. All right, for this next step here, we're going to use this wire and cable pulling lubricant, right? And we're going to use just regular old electric tape, nothing fancy here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this thing off, right? So let me get my regular old pliers. And this is kind of hard to do with one hand while I'm videoing. Julia, you want to aim the video at me? You're going to aim the video at what I'm doing. You see what I'm doing? Look at that. Hold it like that so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, flip that off. Right, now I tape these two wires together, okay? We're just going to use this electric tape, and I'm going to wrap it around a couple 1,000 times. Julia, you want to hold this and show everybody what I'm doing? Okay, so let's get this tape here. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So we wrap these wires around here. Okay, tape the wires together all the way back, pretty overlapping it. Now I use electrical tape because it's easily lubricated. It's very non-sticky on this side. It's very easy to slide. Next step here is I'm going to use this lubricant, and I'm going to lubricate the wire. Okay. All right, I want to stop videoing because it's hard to do with one hand, and my daughter Julia had to take a break. We've got the wire hole lubricated up here, wire wrapped and lubricated with the lubricant. I'm gonna go and pull the wire on the other side, and my son Jimmy, say hi.
Hi.
He's gonna make sure and feed it in on this side over here, just to make sure that he pushes from one side while I pull on the other side. And we should be able to get the wire to go all the way through, and I'll pull it up on the other side. He's gonna feed it for us. I'm gonna pull the wire. Right here is where we have this screwdriver where we caulked it earlier, right? It's coming out here, right? So I'm gonna pull from this side here, and James is gonna feed it. Okay, I'm gonna stop videoing for a second while I pull this. My connection here, the hardest part of it is through, and I'm just gonna now pull the rest of the wires up so we have it nice and tight on the other side. So now we pull all the slack through. Got a bunch of extra wire over here, and as you can see on this side over here, we've got our unit is right here, and it just needs to be stuck on, and we're going to use some silicone sealant to do that, right? So let's go ahead and get that going, right? And move on to the next stage. So now we're going to stick this sucker on, and we're going to put a bunch of, we're going to use silicone lubricant as our caulking to make sure that it doesn't, we're going to put this on very liberally all around, right? We don't want any water getting in like what happened last time. Not sure how that caused the problem, but it did, right? We're going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this wire from the other side. I'm going to put this down here, right? And I'm going to lube this all around. Creating a nice sealant. All right, so now we're just going to cut back the slack. We don't need 100 feet of wire on this side. We're still going to have enough that we can cut back more after if we need. So we're going to cut right here, and that's good. All right, so just like when we started, the first thing we did is we cut the zip ties. Now we're going to put some zip ties back on here to keep this nice and tight here. We don't want messy wires everywhere, right? So we're going to just put a zip tie around this one here, and we're going to just get it nice and tight. Perfect. All right. And so now what we got is we got this, it's fully wired up here to the unit, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut the wires back. Wrong tool. Let me grab the right one. And we're going to take some of the sheathing off of this wire, right, so that we can go ahead and see, we can expose these. We're going to take the sheathing off of these ones. We're going to wire them back into that clip where we started off with. Okay, so now that we've got the wires all cut properly with the insulation cut back, we're going to go ahead and attach it back to this clip, back where we started. Remember, we're going to look at the colors here: black, orange, red, yellow, green, blue, and we're going to make sure and get it in the right order so that when we clip this guy back on, it's done in the right order, right? So we're going to do black on this side, blue on this side, and we're going to wire it up like that. Things back on, and we clipped them back up. Now we're going to put the breakers back on here. Right, and now we're going to go and try our spar out. All right, so we're going to just try the lights. Okay, the lights turned on. Okay, we're going to try the waterfall. Waterfall came on. Now I'm not going to do the bubbler because I don't want to get the silicone here wet that's still drying. But let's try the spar. We can hear the spar jet turned on. It takes a couple minutes for it to actually start coming out here, but I heard the jets come on, so I know it's working. So I can turn that off. Turn the lights back off. And I think that's good. Now what next step here is we're going to label these. Just like the old one, we had these labels here. We're going to go ahead and put the labels on here as well. Right, so we're just putting the stickers here, the labels. We're just matching what we had before: lights, waterfall, bubbler, spar. There's a whole bunch of stickers we could choose from here. We could call bubbler party or high jets as we like, but we're going to go ahead with what we had before because it matches the controller inside. And while I was ready to change it, my wife had a recognition that, you know what, it matches what we had inside and people will get confused. It makes a lot of sense. And then that's that. All the ones are done. So we have changed our jet spar, and this is the new controller. We can see that it all works, right? And the silicone still needs a little bit of time to dry before we go and get crazy. But that's it, and that's how you change a spar controller.